Well, Marcus, disappointing result, being 1-0 up with a classic goal from Dan Holman, a second half disaster. How do you sort of sum that game up yourself?
Yeah, unbelievably frustrated, unbelievably annoyed with the result. The first half, we worked extremely hard. We knew physically we were going to be weaker than the opposition. So it was all about being tenacious, it was all about being competitive, it was all about being decisive, good starting positions, and just try and put as much pressure on the opposition's back four with the pace and technical ability that we have up there. And certainly that box was ticked.
Especially first half, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the instructions at the half time was pretty much they're going to have to change something. They're going to have to look at doing something as long as we carry on doing what we have instructed them to do and what the plan of attack was. Concede straight from kick-off, very, very frustrating. Takes the wind out of your sails. It makes the game, it sort of lifts them, knowing that there's 44 minutes left. But it was, I wasn't overly worried in terms of the players, because I felt, we just need to carry on doing what we're doing in terms of what the first half was. Then there was the sending off, and I don't know. I just think starting positions from our defensive players when we're on the attack or in possession has hurt us, because the two goals are very similar in terms of it's one clearance by them. We haven't dealt with it, i.e. given a foul, whether it was a foul or not doesn't matter. The free kick, obviously from where we were standing, it looked a bit there seemed to be a lot on show for him to go at, and then the third, again, deep position, the ball's gone over the top, we're not covering one man, my two centre halves. Whitey's come, he hasn't got there, the lad's got a lot to do, small margins, and he's took it. And I don't really want to dig Declan and Stanners out, because they've been, since they've combined, they've put in a fantastic shift and they've been rock solid. That 45 minutes wasn't the time to have a quango, and unfortunately the organisation which they've brought to the table, the no-nonsense defending they brought to the table wasn't there second half, and it put a lot of pressure on us against a team that defended stoutly, they defended strongly, they committed themselves, there was big headers at the far post, near post, there was goal line clearances, and frustratingly for me, their defenders and midfielders who grasped it very hard to minimise our opportunities or block our attempts on goal has warranted their win. I'm not going to get overly despondent in terms of the league table. There's still things to be played for, and it's still technically in our hands, but there's a roller coaster to go. The more that we travel along these games and we're in the mix with each other, there's going to be a lot of pressure in every game. So I'm not going to get overly worried, considering we probably ask me that in 10 days' time, where the answers will be there. But that 45 minutes has really sort of screwed the pressure on us. And as a manager and as a coach, and I've been doing this a long, long time, it frustrates me that how some players who can be giving you so much consistency and doing so well, and then just small moments get punished. Our forwards again, we scored 4 goals in 2 games. We create good opportunities, and we're working extremely hard for our chances. And we just, that's 5 goals in 2 games. That ain't going to help you win a league.
We've got the January transfer window. We'll be looking to strengthen. I know it's an obvious thing.
We don't do transfer.
Well, I'm going to use it as a. But are you looking?
I think we need to. I think there's a few players who need to go out and get games, because we've brought lads on and they're not near the mark. There's some players who we probably need to move out to allow to bring more in, just to up the quality and impetus. I felt vulnerable going into this game because I knew how physically strong they were.
On Saturday, didn't you? With,
Yeah,
Covington to play. That must have been a blow.
The loss of Brett and Adam, and obviously we didn't have Rico. I mean, we're not the biggest sides anyway. So I was feeling a bit uncomfortable in terms of vulnerable to the physicality of them, and you could see today. You know, at one point I thought the ball got stretched off. You know, and don't get me wrong, that's not just them. That was us. It was lively and. It makes it difficult when you're trying to open things up, and there was a few decisions when we were going forward that we give the ball away, which was, you know, disappointing. Certainly when the way they were defending. So you know, you go win every game, but I was worried about today. But at half time, from what the first half performance was, I was like, go on then, just see it out, carry on doing what we're doing. We'll get another goal, which we did. What disappoints me is three very poor goals that has allowed them to get more confident and belief and work harder, where we end up panicking. Very, very frustrated and annoyed because it came down to individuals, unfortunately, rather than a whole team or, you know, being inept in the way we played. I'd like to see the shot count. I think we might have even doubled what their shots were. The keeper's done very well, swept up extremely well. There's 4 goal line clearances or defending. As I say, then there was one where he did a tremendous block, and that annoys me when you consider we just. I don't know if it was switched off. I'm not sure. I'll speak to the deck and Stanners and Whitey. It looked a little bit too open. So communication is questionable. Starting position certainly.
It sounded very quiet out there. There was not a lot of shouting going on. As you say, communication seemed to be lacking.
Yeah, we're a quiet team anyway. We've got a lot of players who are quite insular, and when everything goes really well, we're on top of it. But you know, right to the end, we kept on going. Just because we were insular, I don't think there's not a belief or any confidence. I think we were probing and we worked hard. It's just when we're in the ascendancy, I expect my goalkeeper and my 2 centre halves to be making sure we're ready for the counter attack, and it just seems to be one ball that set them up for the free kick, which I think was the starting position that hurt us, and then it was quite similar for the third. Very, very from where we were at half time to what we are now. But okay.
Well, we have Royston on Saturday. That's going to be another physical encounter. It was at their place. It was billed as the game of their season at that time when we won that 1-0. Dan Holman got the goal. Not long to recover.
No.
And that disappointment from this evening, you've got to translate that into something positive, I suppose, to
I mentioned we got a massive week, haven't we? We got Royston, we got Colville, we got Stourbridge. Our conversation at the end of Stourbridge will obviously be very intriguing to what the season will finish. The starting of the end of the season, shall we say, because we will either be... we're going to be in and around them, there's no doubt about that. We just got to pick ourselves up, learn from these mistakes, though in the same time, I just think, unfortunately, 1 or 2, just in that 45 minutes, just went off the boil, and it's hurt us. And I'm not going to dig them out on this in there, because for the 6th game we haven't lost for 6-7 games, and with games we've been absolutely solid. And so when you look over the 7 games, how solid we've been, it's just crazy how that 45 minutes has massively punished us, and that's very, very, very frustrating.
Okay, Marcus, sorry to leave you on that disappointment, but we're back here as a Sound Saturday. Let's hope we can pick ourselves up and get back to winning ways. You say we've still got 2 games in hand, we're only 4 points behind. It's all in our own hands still, isn't it? Yeah,
and then that's how we've got to look at it. And do you know what? We'll probably get to the end of January. Sorry, we get to the middle of February, and you might be looking at all sorts of things that could be going on. There's a lot of games to be played, and there's going to be a lot of pressure as we get into each game. and we'll be playing a lot of teams who won't be under pressure. So that'll be quite, that'll be sometimes that goes for you or goes against you, where the teams play with a freedom. The other side is there's lots of teams in the mix for the playoffs, so we're obviously going to be playing a large chunk of them as our Stourbridge. But look, I was worried about today.
Justifiably.
yeah, but from where we were at half time, very, very frustrated and annoyed. But we got, like I said, we got not dwell on it, certainly learn from it, or just take it for as it is. There was a few individual errors, got punished, and that gave a belief in the opposition, who defended extremely well, commitment, responded well for their manager, worked extremely hard, and unfortunately we didn't have we gifted them the opportunities to punish us, and they gladly took them, and we haven't done enough. We put a lot of pressure on our forward line when really, we've scored 4 goals in 2 games. We should, if we're going to be up, top of the table, we need to not be conceding 5 in 2 games. Quite obviously.
Okay, Marcus, thank you very much for your thoughts, and we'll be back here on Saturday, as I say.